They didn't just kill the Fire Master, they turned him into a trophy. Welcome back to the Ninjago Legends Monstrosity Breakdown series. This is part 2, covering the second episode, known as Fallen Master, and we're going to be looking deep into this story. But before we get into it, if you missed part 1 of this series, there's a link in the description. And if you like these types of videos, subscribe so you don't miss part 3 when it drops. Alright, let's get into it. So, in episode 2, we see Kai getting trapped by a monster that looks like a giant centipede. When Kai gets free and falls scuffing to the ground, it sounds really impressive from Vincent Tong's part, as I said in my early review. Then we see him explore the lair of the monster, and he finds a painting or engraving on the wall. Now, this painting gives us a rough idea of how the centipede monster works. My theory is that it traps its prey inside the cocoons and then the body disintegrates or fuses with its body. That might explain why it has so many hats stuck to its body. At the center of the engraving is an infinity symbol, which could mean that this process makes a monster become longer each time, maybe even infinitely. That's also hinted at visually when Kai moves through the lair. The monster's body is everywhere, with no clear end to it. In fact, we never get to see if it has an end. But here's the big question. What happened to the Fire Master? Why is its body still more or less intact? Well, I'll get to that in a second. So, as Kai searches for a way out of the cave, he stumbles upon the fire mech, which activates when it connects with his fire element. The mech then reveals how he fought alongside his master in an attempt to stop the centipede, but they were ultimately defeated. We then see this shot, showing us a reused model of the Sword of Fire, one of the golden weapons. Now, this could be a fun Easter egg for OG fans, or it could go deeper. So, let's talk about this mysterious elemental master of fire. I've got 2 theories. Number 1, he travelled from Ninjago to the realm of monsters. If that's true, he likely knew the first Spinjitzu master, and maybe even based his sword on the original Sword of Fire, creating his own replica. Number 2, he's from the realm of monsters. In that case, the sword is probably just a cool detail. Either way, one thing is clear. After the Fire Master's passing, the elemental power of fire travelled between realms to find its new host, that being Kai's father, Ray. Anyway, after the Fire Mech tells Kai that there's nothing to fight with, and nothing to fight for, Kai reforges the mech's broken weapon, a callback to his past as a blacksmith. And as he does, he delivers this beautiful monologue saying he knows how it feels to lose someone, how it makes you feel like you wanna give up. I love that line. It could be a reference to when he believed his parents were gone forever, or when Nia sacrificed herself to merge with the ocean, possibly never coming back. These are important references. They show us that Kai remembers carrying all that pain with him, but he never let it break him down. Then we get to the battle between the Fire Mech and the centipede monster. It is revealed that the creature's head is actually the remains of the former Fire Master. The monster is literally using his corpse like a puppet. That detail is creepy, but it's also very interesting. Why would it do that? Maybe the Fire Master got closer to defeating it than anyone else ever had, and out of pride, the monster kept his body intact as a twisted trophy. Whatever the case, this moment pushes the Fire Mech to decide that he should be the one to defeat the monster. Fueled by Kai's fire, it disintegrates the centipede once and for all. The episode closes on a somber note, with Kai and the Fire Mech holding a funeral for the fallen master. Strangely, his clothes somehow survive the flames, but it makes sense from a storytelling point of view. The scene wouldn't have been the same without something to burn on the altar. The last words of the mech, saying, "Master, this land claimed you," suggests that he and his master weren't from the land of monsters at all. They came from somewhere else, possibly Ninjago, as I said in my first theory. And that wraps up episode 2 of Monstrosity. Part 3 is coming soon, where we'll take a closer look at the conclusion of the story. There's still a lot to discuss. In the meantime, let me know your theories or favorite moment from this episode in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear what you think. And I'll see you in the next one.